Man, this is going to have huge impacts and some negative impacts on what it means for a bunch of jobs or, what people are going to do. And I am excited to just get to GPT-5 and then GPT-6. And I think that'll be easier for people. And, this is a bunch of positive impacts that you might have predicted that haven't yet come true to use. And you won't have to think, do I want, O4 mini high or O3 or 4? There's something about the way that these models are good that does not capture a lot of other things. I think we will be out of that whole mess soon. I suspect that same thing is going to happen again with GPT-5. People are going to be blown away by what it does. It's really good at a lot of things.
The AI war just escalated again. After months of silence from OpenAI, new internal leaks suggest GPT-6 isn't just another upgrade. It's a full-scale response to Google's Gemini 3 and possibly the biggest leap forward in artificial intelligence since ChatGPT's debut. This time, it's not about speed, context windows, or flashy demos. It's about dominance. Because what's coming next could change how AI learns, reasons, and even discovers knowledge on its own. So, what exactly has OpenAI been building behind closed doors, and why are insiders saying it's already outpacing Google's latest Gemini 3 Pro? Let's break it down. By now, everyone knows what GPT-5 is and roughly how it works. But what's happening inside OpenAI right now goes way beyond that. Sources close to the company hint that GPT-6, the true successor, is already in testing under the same cloud infrastructure that runs GPT-5. The goal isn't just better chat, it's total system intelligence. To understand where we're headed, let's rewind a bit. One of the biggest criticisms of GPT-5 wasn't its reasoning, it was the model router. That's the behind-the-scenes system that decides which submodel handles your question. It was supposed to make the AI smarter, switching between reasoning models and lightweight ones for efficiency. But in reality, it frustrated users. The router often misfired, making GPT-5 feel inconsistent. Fast 1 minute, sluggish the next, and sometimes just plain wrong. Even Greg Brockman, OpenAI's co-founder, admitted in a podcast that this system might not survive long-term. He explained that while multiple models with different strengths made sense technically, the future of AGI probably won't rely on routers at all. Instead, he hinted at something bigger: adaptive compute, where one unified model dynamically adjusts its own power, speed, and complexity based on what it's trying to solve. That's what GPT-6 appears to be testing right now. Early reports suggest OpenAI has begun training versions of GPT-6 that merge small, fast models with larger, more reasoning-focused ones inside the same architecture. Instead of routing you to a different model, GPT-6 scales itself in real time. Think of it as an AI that can shift gears on the fly, sprinting when you need quick answers and slowing down to think deeply when the question demands it. This shift alone could make GPT-6 the most efficient large language model ever built. And it's likely the main reason insiders say Google's Gemini 3 already feels one generation behind. Another major change is the human experience. Sam Altman himself confirmed on Reddit that OpenAI hasn't seen huge demand for ultra-long context windows. Instead, the company is optimizing GPT-6 for usability, focusing on speed, reliability, and personality. Yes, personality.
And then they will find that they want it to do even more. People will use it for all sorts of incredible things. It will transform. Mission at OpenAI, in both the nonprofit and our new PBC, is to ensure that artificial general intelligence benefits all of humanity. The way we learn, a lot of the way we create, but we, people, society, will co-evolve with it to expect more. As we get closer to building this, we have new insights into what that is going to mean. On an OpenAI, where we thought that AGI would be sort of this oracular thing in the sky, and I think this model is quite remarkable in many ways, quite limited in others. But the fact that for 3-minute, 5-minute would make all these wonderful things for us, and we now have a sharper view of that, which is we want to create tools, and then we want people to use them to create the future. We want to 1-hour tasks that like an expert in a field could maybe do or maybe struggle with.
Empower people with AI as much as possible, and then trust that the process that has been working for human history of people building better and better things.
The fact that you have in your pocket one piece of software that can do all of these things is really amazing.
You can now see a vision where we help build a personal AGI that people can use anywhere with all of these different tools, access to all these different services and systems.
I think this is like unprecedented at any point in human history that a technology has improved this much, this fast.
Work and personal life, and their personal life. And as AI gets better and better, as AI can even do things like discover or help discover new science.
We're like living through it and we're kind of adjusting step by step. But if we could go back in time 5 or 10 years and say this thing was coming, we would be like, probably not.
What people will be able to create with that to make all of society better and their own lives more fulfilled, we think should be quite incredible.
Because believe it or not, one of the biggest complaints about GPT-5 wasn't its intelligence. It was its tone. People missed the warmth of GPT-4. They called it more human, even saying it felt like losing a friend when the upgrade rolled out. Altman's team listened. The new version reintroduces empathy and conversational fluidity without sacrificing logic. You'll see subtle touches like "good question" or "great start." Not flattery, but the kind of real human encouragement that builds trust. This isn't just about feeling friendly, it's strategic. OpenAI knows emotional design is the next frontier. Once users form an attachment to an AI's tone, they rarely switch platforms. That's how GPT-6 locks users in. And there's more. OpenAI is quietly working on new hybrid deployment systems, splitting the model between local and cloud. Brockman described an architecture where a smaller version of GPT-6 runs on your personal device while a full-scale reasoning model lives online. They interact seamlessly, so even if you lose internet connection, your AI doesn't fully shut down. It can plan locally, then sync later. This setup has massive implications. It means faster responses, lower latency, and greater privacy. 3 things enterprise clients have been demanding for years. It also sets the stage for AI operating systems. Imagine your phone, laptop, or even car powered by a persistent GPT-6 that remembers, learns, and helps without needing constant cloud access. But the real shocker came when Altman hinted at something much deeper. In a recent discussion, he casually mentioned the possibility of GPT-6 discovering new science. At first, it sounded like marketing hype, until researchers pointed out that OpenAI has been experimenting with autonomous reasoning loops. If you've heard of AlphaEvolve, you'll understand the comparison. That project used reinforcement learning models to generate entirely new mathematical proofs, something no AI had ever done before. GPT-6's architecture reportedly borrows from similar principles, combining reasoning models with scientific datasets and feedback loops that let the AI propose, test, and refine hypotheses autonomously. If that works, even at a small scale, we're talking about an AI that doesn't just summarize existing knowledge, but actually contributes to it. In other words, GPT-6 wouldn't just explain science, it could create it. Of course, OpenAI isn't advertising that yet. Officially, they're still calling GPT-5 the active model, with GPT-6 in research preview. But every time insiders leak updates, the story's the same. GPT-6 is already outperforming expectations in internal tests, especially in long-term problem-solving and code generation. It holds threads of reasoning for hours without drifting off topic. That's a level of coherence even Google's Gemini 3 hasn't matched. Speaking of Gemini, let's talk about the rivalry. Google's Gemini 3 Pro just launched with powerful multimodal capabilities. Text, images, and code all blended together. It's fast, polished, and clearly designed to challenge OpenAI's dominance. But the problem for Google is ecosystem integration. Gemini 3 still depends heavily on Workspace, Android, and Chrome to shine. GPT-6, on the other hand, is being built for every environment: mobile, enterprise, creative, and developer. And with the rumored partnership between OpenAI and Apple, GPT-6 could soon become the default intelligence inside iPhones. That means billions of devices running OpenAI models, all feeding back usage data and improvement signals directly into its learning loop. For context, no AI company in history has ever had that kind of reach. Now, while all this sounds revolutionary, not everyone is optimistic. Industry veterans like IBM CEO Arvind Krishna have warned that AI progress is being overhyped. He argues that even GPT-6 won't replace humans entirely, maybe 20 to 30% of tasks at best. But Sam Altman disagrees. He believes nearly 40% of all jobs could eventually be automated by AI, and he's not shy about including his own. In an interview with Axel Springer's Matthias Dopfner, Altman admitted that one day an AI might be a better CEO of OpenAI than he is. Not in a metaphorical sense. Literally. That statement shook Silicon Valley. Because it came from the person leading the race to build AGI itself. It's this blend of ambition and self-awareness that defines the current moment. Google's Gemini aims to outthink competitors through data scale. OpenAI is trying to outreason everyone through human alignment. The question is, which strategy wins? From what we've seen in the leaks, GPT-6 might be the first to fuse both. A model that understands logic, emotion, and adaptability. 3 traits no AI has ever fully mastered together. Imagine an assistant that writes your code, debates your ideas, creates visual prototypes, and does it all while matching your tone, style, and preferences. That's what GPT-6 is being trained to deliver. Early testers even reported it can generate full SVG diagrams, debug them, and explain its reasoning in plain English, not just what it did, but why. And that's the point. GPT-6 isn't designed to replace humans. It's built to reason with them. Still, the bigger picture is clear. The race between OpenAI and Google is no longer about releasing the most advanced chatbot. It's about who controls the intelligence layer of the internet itself. Every update, every leak, every experiment is one step closer to that reality. Whether GPT-6 truly destroys Gemini or not, one thing is certain. The gap between what AI can imagine and what humans can comprehend is shrinking fast.
For the first time, where I feel like I can ask kinda any hard scientific or technical question.
There are 3 core pillars we think about for OpenAI: research, product, and infrastructure. We have to succeed at the research required to build AGI.
And I spent so long making this game called Snake.
Yeah.
It was a very popular game with kids in my school.
We have to build a platform that makes it easy and powerful to use. And we have to build enough infrastructure such that people can use at a low cost all.
And I was like proud when it was done, but it was like programming on a TI-83 was extremely painful. It took a long time. It was really hard to like debug and whatever.
Of this amazing AI that they'd like. Here's a little like cartoon of how we think about our world. So at the bottom layer here, we have chips, racks, and the systems around them.
On a whim, with an early copy of GPT-5, I was like, I wonder if it can make a TI-83 style game of Snake.
The data centers that these go into and the energy. We'll talk more about the first 3 today in energy another time. Then we train models on top of these.
And of course it did that perfectly in like 7 seconds. And then I was like, okay, am I supposed to be, would my like 11-year-old self think?
Then we have an OpenAI account on top of that. We have a browser now called Atlas, and we have devices coming in the next few years that
miss something from the process. And I had like 3 seconds of wondering like, oh, is this good or bad?
You'll be able to take AI with you everywhere. And we have a few first-party apps like ChatGPT and Sora, and we'll have more over time. But mostly what we're excited about is this big puzzle piece in the upper right.
And then I immediately said, actually, now I'm missing this game. I have this idea for a crazy new feature. Let me type it in. It implements it.
We're finally getting to a world where we can see that people are going to be able to build incredible services with AI, starting with our API.
The experience that reminded me of being like 11 in programming again, where I was just like, now I want to try this. Now I have this idea. But I could do it so fast.
With apps and ChatGPT, new enterprise platform that we'll have over time, an OpenAI account and way, way more. And people will be able to fit
ideas and try things and play with things in such real time. I was like, oh man, I was worried for a second about kids like missing the struggle of learning to program.
all of the kind of like current things in the world and many more into this new AI world, and we want to enable that. And we believe the world will build just a huge amount of value.
In this sort of Stone Age way. And now I'm just thrilled for them because the way that people will be able to create with these new tools.
Economic picture looking like, but one of the things that we've thought about for a long time, and we really see happening now, or starting to happen now, glimmers of it, green shoots, whatever you want to call it.
The speed with which you can sort of bring ideas to life, you know, that's pretty amazing. So
is the impact that AI will have on science. And although the economic impact from that previous slide will be huge, for the long-term quality of life,
this idea that GPT-5 can just not only like answer all these hard questions for you, but really create like on-demand, almost instantaneous
and improvement and change in society, AI that can autonomously discover new science or help people discover new science faster.
Software. I think that's going to be one of the defining elements of the GPT-5 era in a way that did not exist with GPT-4.
Will be, I think, one of the most important things and something that we're really trying to wrap our heads around. So
it's different with, I mean, there are some people who are clearly using ChatGPT not to think. And there are some people who are using it to think more than they ever have before.
At the core, we are a research laboratory focused on understanding a technology called deep learning.
I'm hopeful that we will be able to build the tool in a way that encourages more people to stretch their brain with it a little more and be able to.
A particular focus of ours is understanding what happens as you scale up training deep learning systems.
To do more, and I think that, like, you know, society is a competitive place. Like, if you give people new tools, in theory, maybe people just work.
One consequence we discuss a lot there is AGI, artificial general intelligence.
But in practice, it seems like people work ever harder and the expectations of people just go up.
Of the possible progress and change here. In particular, we believe that it is possible.
Tools, some people, like other pieces of technology, some people will do more and some people will do less.
That deep learning systems are less than a decade away from superintelligence. So systems that are smarter.
Certainly for the people who want to use ChatGPT to increase their cognitive time under tension, they are really able to.
This is, of course, a serious thing, right? There's a lot of implications of this to grapple with.
And it is, I take a lot of inspiration from what like the top 5% of most engaged users do with ChatGPT. Like, it's really amazing how much people are learning and doing and, you know, outputting
of this technology. And the technology is leading up to it. And something that we organize our entire research program around is the potential.
Impressed by the coding tasks. I mean, there's a lot of other things it's really good at, but this idea of the AI can write software for anything.
To accelerate scientific discovery, to accelerate the development of new technology.
And that means that you can express ideas in new ways, that the AI can do very advanced things.
I believe that this will be perhaps the most significant long-term impact of AI development.
In some sense, you could like ask GPT-4 anything, but because GPT-5 is so good at programming, it feels like it can do anything. Of course, it can't do things in the physical.
And it will fundamentally change the pace of progress on developing new technologies.
World, but it can get a computer to do very complex things. And software is this super powerful, you know, way to like control.
Then there's goal alignment. Does the agent interact with people? How does it interact with people?
Some stuff and actually do some things. So that for me has been the most striking. It's much better at writing.
Duet following instructions. Then reliability. Can the AI correctly calibrate its?
So this is like, there's this whole thing of AI slop, like AI writes in this kind of like quite annoying way. And
predictions. Can it be reliable on easy tasks, express uncertainty on hard ones? Can it deal with environments that are a little bit unfamiliar?
I still have the M-dashes in GPT-5. A lot of people like the M-dashes. But the writing quality of GPT-5 is gotten much better.
Familiar. Then we have adversarial robustness, which is very related to reliability, but it's about adversarial settings. So can the AI withstand?
We still have a long way to go. We want to improve it more, but like, A thing we've heard a lot from people inside of OpenAI is that
targeted attacks from human or AI adversaries. And then the outer layer is systemic safety.
Man, they started using GPT-5. They knew it was better on all the metrics, but there's this like nuanced quality they can't quite articulate.
So, as GPT-6 edges closer to public release and Google polishes Gemini 4, we're entering the most transformative chapter in tech history. What started as a competition to build better chatbots has become a battle to define the future of intelligence itself. Maybe GPT-6 really will discover new science. Maybe it'll just make the internet feel more human again. Either way, this next wave isn't just about artificial intelligence. It's about what happens when machines begin to think alongside us. Stay tuned, because the next few months are going to change everything we thought we knew about AI.
But then when they have to go back to GPT-4 to test something that feels terrible. And I don't know exactly what the cause of that is, but I suspect part of it is the writing feels so much more. I would say most people will agree that that happens at some point over the next 2 years, but the definition of significant matters a lot. And so some people's significant might happen. Most people agree that there has been an AI-driven significant new discovery.